What's up? What's up? What's up? So, welcome to another episode of the Wiley Show. We have a full show today. A lot of stuff to unpack. So if you miss it, please catch the replay. So I'm doing this show because we're going to give you an update on George Floyd. Keith Ellison, the Attorney General of Minnesota, definitely did. He done a press conference today. All officers are charged. He upped the charge up for the officer that was really originally charged with third degree. I think he bumped it to second degree. So we're going to definitely unpack that in another show. But this show, we're going to be focusing on Iyanna Dior. Is a transgender woman that was beaten in a store at a convenience store by African-American men and a woman. So it was a lot of folks that were jumping on this transgender woman at this store. So I got the story. A lot of people from the trans community were talking about it. And I was like, okay. And they were saying all over Twitter, Facebook, where's the outrage? Do our lives matter? Us as trans women, do our lives matter? Us as Black trans women, why don't we get the same outrage as everybody else? So I was on the phone with some sisters and I was going to show you all the video, but I would just show you Iyanna video and a couple of clips from some trans sisters giving their opinion about the situation, but I will not show it on the YouTube show of the actual beating that Iyanna in that convenience store. I posted it on Instagram. So if you want to see it in its entirety, it's definitely on Instagram. But clearly how the video go, the video was on so many people pages, and it was a fender bender issue, meaning that trans sister Iyanna Dior hit someone's car, and from judging by the video, it was a Black woman's car that she hit, and she was all upset. The woman was all upset. Oh, I want to fight. They was calling her the F word. They was calling her he. They wasn't even giving her the proper pronouns. And it was predominantly it was a Black neighborhood. So they all, in the video, towards the end, they rushed in the store and they started to jump on her, beat her. It was a lot. Men were hitting her. Women were hitting on her. It was so bad. Like the store manager or the store owner had to put her in the room, like lock her in the back, because that was like a mob trying to, seriously harm her. So she did a video, and I'm going to post the video here on Facebook. So I'm going to screen share this. Give me a second. I'm going to screen share it where you all can see a little part of the video. Give me a second of her, because she went on Facebook to speak to her supporters. All right, so here we go. Let me go to Facebook right here. All right, let me do this.
That I'm using. She said, "Stay strong, beautiful. I'm so sorry they did that to you. Justice for you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. But no, I'm just gonna get up off of here in a second because I'm ready to go to sleep. I actually don't feel good." She said, all of them, and you don't even have a busted lip at least. Well, no, the whole side of my face is literally like, it's swollen. Like, it hurts so bad. The whole side of my face from like here to here is really swollen. It hurts. And then on my forehead, I have like, if you run your hands across it, these are knots. Like, that's a long patch of scratches, but I have knots on my face, literally. And then my fucking arm is just swollen. It hurts so bad. I think I need to go to the hospital. My bottom teeth, it had one inside of my lips, and then my lips are cut on the inside. A lot of shit happened. She said, "I can see the swelling, bruising. It hasn't even came yet." I know, that's what I said. The swelling's gonna come in tomorrow. I don't even know how I'm gonna deal with this. My Cash App is the one that I posted on my page. I posted it on my Facebook page. Thank you, boo. I will be safe. You still fine. Thank you. But yeah, I'm gonna get up off of here though now, guys. I was just coming in here to tell you guys that.
Okay.
You said you're still pretty. Thank you.
So you clearly see her that she had marks and stuff. So that was that video. So I'm gonna play another video of trans women and see. This is what we're gonna have a serious conversation. I don't want us to lose sight that they are our sisters. And I feel as though when anything that happened to trans women, it does not get the media attention. It does not get the outrage. And Black leaders should be called out as well. So when I say that, and I say it humbly, I say we have to keep that same energy when it comes to our sisters and brothers in the trans community. So I'm going to play this video of a sister that had this to say about the situation. Her name is Vanessa Phillips, and she's a trans woman. So I'm going to play this video of her. So give me a second. I'm going to pull that up and I'm going to screen share that so you all can hear that. And then we have a special guest that's going to be coming on as well. Okay. Let me press play.
I deleted my Facebook and everything. I ain't been on Facebook in over a week. But you know what? I'm finna speak on this bullshit. And every one of you bitch ass, pussy ass niggas on my motherfucking mama. God gonna get y'all. It's no need for no worldly powers to come and touch y'all. Cause you niggas is already hurting. You dirty, broke, disgusting, filthy, dick in the booty, fucking on niggas on the side, DL, bum ass, broke ass, hurting ass niggas. Y'all is some bitch ass niggas. And word to mother. Mind you, all right. Bring it the fuck on in here. Because you know what? I find it so motherfucking funny. And I guarantee I want a bitch to jump on here. I want a nigga to jump on here. I want a bitch to say something. I don't give a fuck. I'll smack the fuck out of all of y'all myself. And y'all know full well I done walk these motherfucking streets. And I'm never worried about no nigga. Y'all are bitch ass niggas. And you're full of bullshit. And you're bum as hell, and you're weak as fuck. And I find it funny as fuck. How the fuck we supposed to be out here marching for you motherfuckers? Because I ain't said nothing. And I've been cussing my trans sisters out because I've been telling them we should not single ourselves out and make our fight bigger than the overall fight. But I find it motherfucking funny how you bitches think we gonna sit up here and keep coming outside defending and protesting for you bitches, and you gonna jump that motherfucking girl? Y'all gonna jump her? Y'all gonna jump her? I find it so funny. I find it so funny because I can sit up here and say that I don't give a fuck about when they kill a nigga in the streets, but that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Hold on.
Okay, I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. Stop that. Put it right there.
I do. Mind you, you motherfucking bum ass niggas, you're bums. You're a bum. Every single last one of y'all niggas that touched her, you're a bum. You're broke. And the sad part about it is, y'all was the niggas that was out there looting. First and foremost, why y'all still outside when the coronavirus is going on? And I hope that Jesus touch every one of y'all. I hope Jesus touch every one of y'all. I hope Jesus touches every one of y'all. I hope Jesus touches every one of y'all motherfuckers. I hope they touch y'all children. I hope he shows y'all motherfuckers what the fuck you deserve to be the fuck going through. You think motherfuckers want to be out here living their motherfucking life and you bitches want to put y'all hands on motherfuckers? Are you fucking serious? Are you fucking serious? See, and this is the thing about it is because bitch, I've been jumped by niggas. And one thing about it, y'all some broke ass niggas and you're bum as fuck. And I know full motherfucking well that you are, because when the niggas jump me, bitch, y'all some bitch ass niggas whole time cold of the motherfucking streets. If a bitch want to fight, let them fight, want to run. But y'all some pussy ass niggas that you let it jump. You're lame. You're lame. That's a hate crime. And you motherfucking lucky. And I hope she got family members and I hope she edit her out. You're lame as fuck. You lame as fuck. Y'all lame as fuck. I can't believe what I just watched. My sister actually tagged me in on a post. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, because I deleted myself on Facebook and I didn't want to come back on here and have a conversation. But I find it so motherfucking funny that y'all want African-American gay and trans people to be out there protesting for black men. And this is what the fuck y'all do? Would I be wrong to sit up here and say that I care less about the protest now? am I supposed to care more? Help me figure this out. Nobody helped her. Y'all trying to tear the store down just to try to get to her. And then on top of that, the Arabs, you feel. India, baby girl, I don't know you, but I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that happened to you. I'm so sorry that nobody had your back, but a few select people. I'm so sorry that you had to sit up there and fight damn near 20 to 30, 40 people alone by yourself.
And it was like 20 or 30 people. It was a lot of folks in there. And her friends that was there, they left the scene, came back. One of them came back. It was terrible. They were all in this convenience store. I mean, they were smoking, jumping, punching, stumping, saying the F word. It was so disturbing. And this happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota, right? Let that sink in. And I'm calling out all the civil rights leaders to speak up on this issue, because some people, a part of the trans community, feel as though they're not welcome, and that they're not being welcome in the movement, and that their issues is not being addressed. And that when some happen to them, where's the outrage? When they get murdered, where's the outrage? Where is the marches? Where's the protests for them? And so I'm going to put a little bit of that. Then I'm going to go jump to Hope Janelle, is another transgender activist, because she went live and she was talking about it too. So these are like trans sisters, because I am not trans. So I made sure that I found some trans sister videos. And of course, we have a sister that is coming on that is trans, that's going to speak on the issue as well. So I'm going to play a little bit of that. Then I'm going to jump to Hope's video, and then we're going to bring our guest on. So the people that are just joining in, we're talking about Iyanna Dior, is a transgender woman that lives in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and she was jumped by Black men and also a woman. It was a cisgender woman that were in there as well. The reason why we're saying cisgender woman, because someone told me that's the appropriate term to say. So I'm just going to say it for this conversation. Let me play a little bit of this video, a little bit more.
I'm so sorry that happened to you. And she is still human. So why would you do that to her? Why would you do that to her? Why would you do that? Why are you doing that? Why would you do that? Why? Why would y'all touch her? Why would you do that? This is what you do? You see, because y'all want us to protest for all Black lives, right? No. You want me to protest for Black lives, but all Black lives don't matter to you guys. All Black lives don't matter to you. And I literally cussed my transgender sisters out, and I told them, this is not about you and me. This is not about a gay person that's getting killed. This is not about anything. And now I look goofy, because the whole time it is about more than this. I guarantee you now, y'all don't have to worry about me caring anymore. I don't care no more. I cares less. I cares less. And you know what? I only feel bad because I wish she had a license to carry and lift y'all ass up. I wish she did.
So that was her video. So we're gonna jump to Hope Janelle video, and they're very angry. And so a lot of people were asking, well, why was she dropped? The cisgender woman was upset because Iyanna hit her car, and she wanted her to pay for it now. And so it was, it was a culture of homophobic. It was the spirit of the homophobic was just there in that place. And I mean, that sister didn't stand a chance because they were angry. They were saying a lot of words, and I'm surprised that she's the woman is still breathing. And I believe if that store worker did not intervene, I don't think she would be here today, because they really wanted to take her out. They were that angry at her. And so I just think that's like a hatred that some people in the community have for LGBT folks, especially transgender women. I really believe that it's a hatred in the community. It's something that we rarely talk about because it's so taboo to really bring that up. But I think that do need to be addressed and talked about. on a national level, because that is a problem within the Black community that we do need to address, because that's a sin in our culture, in our existence, that how we treat our trans women, how we treat our gay brothers and sisters. And I question, I when people say Black Lives Matter, do that include transgender women? Do that include Black gay men and women? So I just asked that question, and I'm not asking the question to be, you know, messy. I'm just for a point of conversation. Are their lives, do their lives matter? And I think that is a question that we should bring up. So I'm gonna put Hope Janelle, and I've been knowing her for a long time, and I want to say shout out to her because I've been knowing of her for a long time. So let me take this video off. Let me screen share that, and we're gonna bring our guest on. So, and I don't even know if the abusers are in jail. I really don't know at this moment. So I definitely will keep y'all updated if I get information.
Of people having to defend themselves. You'll see a video of Reese defending his masculinity because he was open about having a trans girlfriend. If you look it up, you'll see it, but y'all don't want to, because you want to have an excuse to be homo and transphobic and then lie about it to our faces like we don't live this shit. So no, young man, I'm not marching for you. No, young lady, I'm not marching for you. I am marching because I'm Black, and I have a duty to protect everybody that goes through what I go through as far as my Blackness. But don't think for 1 second that I forgot the way that you treat me because of my transness. Don't think for 1 second that I forgot the way that you treat me because I'm queer. Don't think for 1 second that I'm going to let that slide. Because as soon as we get our freedom for Blackness, I'm coming for your ass. We got a conversation to have. We got to be intersectional. I'm not forgiving shit until you apologize for something. I'm not doing anymore. I'm not throwing anything to the side. I'm not waiting my turn. I'm taking my space. I'm taking up my space. People having to.
Okay, that was that, and that was that clip that we had, and then also too, it was a transgender man that were killed by allegedly, they're saying, in the custody of the police. Tony McDade, DADE. So I've done a little research on that. I'm trying to get all the facts concerning that case. That's getting little or no press. I know the Associated Press just posted an article, I believe today. So everybody was questioning that. Why have that not gotten major attention? So let me put a little bit of Hope video. I'm going to put a little bit of that, and then I'm going to get my guests on so we can get this conversation started. Let me see where I can do this. Okay, there we go.
And then I'm tired because before that, Brianna dies and we have to hear about it. And then I'm tired because if you're trans, Nina Pop died and we have to hear about it. If you're a part of the LGBT community, all of these other folks, unnamed trans people, unnamed gender nonconforming people have died and we have to hear about it. All of these Black men and women being arrested and we have to see it. People being run over by cars and we got to watch and act like it's okay. And then I turn around and I'm on my way. I turn around and I'm on my way to come here. And more than 5 times I'm tagged in the video. And if you don't want to see the truth, if you don't want to see... I shouldn't have to go to a protest and look to my left and look to my right and be more afraid that the people that look like me are to not be trusted than the police in front of me. I should not have to go to a protest and not only bring things to deter the police, but to bring things to deter people that look like me because they have issues with who I am and how I identify. but I'm supposed to march for you. But I'm supposed to march for you. And then when Black queer people say that we have reservations, y'all look at us stupid and claim that we're Black first. But during a pandemic and a racial time in America, y'all put aside Blackness to beat up on a Black trans woman about a pussy ass scratch on a car. Where's all that energy at for the cops? Where's all those fists at for the cops? Where's all that hitting at for the cops? Where's all of that jumping at for the squad that's out there taking y'all ass out? Where's that energy at for those people? Non-existent as fuck.
Hello?
Yes, okay. So we have our
Cause
guest
y'all scary as
on.
fuck.
All right.
Cause
There
y'all
we go. Naomi, you're live on the air. Can you hear me?
All righty.
Yeah, can you hear me
Yes,
good?
sir.
Okay. So let the people know who you are so we can get this conversation started. Like what do you do? Your name.
All righty. I am Naomi Green. I'm 37-year-old Black transgender woman living in Dallas, Texas. I currently serve as a program manager at Abounding Prosperity Incorporated, which is also headquartered in Dallas, Texas. I help manage and run our transparency program for Black and Brown transgender women, where we provide a variety of services, testing, care, treatment, PrEP, hormone replacement therapy soon, our transgender identification program where we assist in legal name and gender marking changes on documents for transgender individuals. So we definitely serve in a lot of different capacities. Right now we're doing some COVID relief efforts, food giveaways. We've given away gift cards, prevention kits, care kits. So we serve the Black community in general in a wide capacity, as well as an emphasis, of course, on gay and bi Black men, as well as Black cisgender women, and also male to female transgender individuals.
So I want to get your thoughts on it all because Iyanna was definitely trending today. Everybody was talking about it from T.S. Madison, from Hope Janelle, even the cast of Pose. Why do you think that mainstream Black activists from the Black Lives Matter movement from all over don't stand or speaking out against trans attacks or transgender getting killed? Why do you think that they not really speaking out, or even the Black community as a whole?
I believe it's because of stigma, which is, unfortunately, one of the reasons that Black people are disproportionately impacted by HIV, the COVID-19 pandemic, and many other diseases and things that come along. I believe it's because of the stigma that is attached to the LGBT community, and of course, transgender individuals in particular. And so they don't have the compassion or the care sometimes. And so they're not going to push those issues because of the stigma that is placed on that individual group of people within our community, as well as in the world in general. People just don't care as much about LGBTQ lives as any other lives, especially trans women, and it's very unfortunate.
With that being said, what do you think do you feel as though the Black community really doesn't see it for the trans community as a whole, even for the gay community? Do you feel like it's still a division there?
Yeah, I definitely believe that there is a division when it comes to trans individuals. We are looked at as almost on the bottom of the totem pole by some individuals. I mean, even when you think in the grand scheme of Pride and things of that nature, and the Stonewall movement and riots and things like that. That was started by trans women. And, we were left out for many years by a lot of large national LGBT, T individual groups and organizations and wanted to be separated. They wanted to leave us out of those movements and things like that because they didn't agree with it and didn't identify with it. So they didn't want to really fight for it and thought that it would hurt their chances of having certain laws and rights and protections and things like that passed because, they didn't even agree with it and thought that it was something mentally wrong with us. And, they wanted to show that they, could still be, citizens and they could still, do all of the things that straight America could do. And they didn't agree with, our decisions and thought that this was a choice and things of that nature. And, it stems back as far as that. So yes, even within our own community as an LGBTQ, not even specifically the additional marginalization that you have to put on it when you say Black LGBTQ community, because we place even more emphasis on it as a Black community, which is why, you have these situations happen to, this sub community within the Black community, and you don't hear noise about it. You don't hear anyone speaking about it or standing up for us or, trying to protect us, even though we are a marginalized community within a marginalized community.
Because I was saying that, do you feel like Reverend Al Sharpton, these civil rights leaders, should speak out? Why do you think they never take a stand to say this is wrong? Because even before this beating, it's so many trans women that were killed that I rarely see, you can correct me if I'm wrong, those civil rights leaders even speaking up.
A Black person getting beat, in my opinion, is a Black person getting beat. Of course, you don't see some of those individuals speaking up on a lot of different issues that happen even with outside our community. And I can't really speak to the cherry picking that goes on when it comes to different organizations, leaders, and things like that, not speaking up and, when they do speak up. But I can say that, within our community, if we're going to say, that Black Lives Matter, and we're going to talk about certain instances of violence that happen against our community, if it matches up and it just so happens that we talk about all these other issues, but now it's happening to a trans person, and we're ignoring that or we're not speaking up, then I think those are the issues that we need to talk about. And yes, on certain accounts, I do believe that, these individuals should speak up, whether it's a trans person or not. Like when you talk about, some of the situations going on right now, even with, the Tony McDade situation, we don't know all of the circumstances surrounding that. It seems like that there was a really big backstory when it comes to that. But my point is, why is it being ignored? No one even asked the questions, because this was a trans individual. And, my feeling that if this was a cisgender man, and the situation was exactly the same, you would at least hear people asking the questions and speaking up and bringing awareness to it and, trying to figure out all the details instead of just leaving it the way that it is now for the police to figure it out or for the investigation to continue. There would be cries of what's going on, what really happened, where's the video, things like that. And we're not seeing that within the Black community in general because this person is trans. And that is my feeling. That is my opinion. And so, yeah, there is definitely some divisiveness, some cherry picking that goes on and things like that when it comes to trans issues. I mean, this is a situation that, we can't forget just happened basically a year ago with Malaysia Booker, and we see how that turned out. So these situations don't always end well. And, we're not speaking up as a community about this, on behalf of Black trans women. And we are a minority, so we don't have as much power with our own voices as we would if maybe the Black LGBTQ community got behind us as a whole. And then even more than that, if at that point the LGBT community in general as a whole got behind the Black LGBT community, which was behind the Black trans community. And so that voice would continue to grow, and the impact would continue to grow if we had people that stood behind us instead of leaving us to ourselves to try and figure things out, or not really caring as much because they're not able to identify with us. Because let us not forget that in the eyes of America and the views of America, and thus the treatment that we all received growing up, most of us were viewed and treated as just Black men or young Black men until we made our transitions so that our gender expression could match our gender identity. You know, so we can't forget that we have more in common than we have in difference. And I don't think that sometimes gay Black men understand that. And there seems to be a divisiveness instead of unity and camaraderie.
I agree, because I even talked to you before the show. I feel like it is a division. Even myself have to be criticized of the things I have said, because I felt as though that we felt comfortable, because being a Black gay man, you still coming in with privilege as being a man, number one.
Exactly.
And I think we need to be understanding. I feel like it's a division within the community from trans, gay men, you know, lesbian. I feel like it's still kind of segregated, and those walls need to be pretty much destroyed so we can all talk to each other. But in this instance, when we're speaking on a national scale, talking about equality and talking about Black Lives Matter, that do include Black gay lives, trans lives, that do include that.
It does.
But some, unfortunately, really, they're not down for that. They, you know, so many Black kids, you know, get put out because they were gay and get beat to get straight, you know. So it's a lot of issues and problems when it's concerning that. And I don't think it would ever change because of the church. Do you feel like the church is a big part of why Black people are not welcoming to the LGBT community? Do you think church plays a big part on that?
I mean, definitely. You know, religion in general, not just church. You know, not just church. It's religion in general. Yeah, you know, it does play a part in that, you know, because again, you still have man delivering the message, and sometimes there's cherry picking that goes on in the sermons and in, you know, what we're going to put bigger emphasis on and things like that. So, you know, yeah, definitely, you know, that has, you know, some in it, but that's not all of it. There's definitely, you know, there's much more than just that, you know, but we all have to go through a lot of those struggles. You know, they're talking about getting put out, you know, like you said, just, you know, being Black and gay and coming out, you know, some people getting put out of the homes and getting beat to be straight and things like that. You know, like I said, let us not forget that we all experienced that growing up, whether you were just coming out as gay or whether you coming out as gay and then later as trans, or if you were just coming out trans to start. The treatment was the same, and sometimes even more excessive if you came out as just trans and not I'm gay, but I am trans, or I'm a woman, or I'm a girl. That was shunned even more so. Sometimes with parents, you've heard parents say, I'd rather my child be gay than, you know, want to be a woman or to be trans. There are some parents that feel that way. So again, like you said, you know, there is still privilege in being just a Black gay man versus being someone who is trans. And, you know, just because we don't understand it, sometimes we can't stand behind it. But that is the same logic that these people are using whenever they are trying to reinforce the hate that they are inflicting on Black people. Because at one point in time, they looked at us as being less than human. They didn't look at us as being equal to humans and thought we came from apes and things like that. And they used the Bible to try and justify some of their thoughts, feelings, and behaviors towards Black people. So we can't forget, you know, where we have come from as a culture, and we are still trying to this day to get people to change their minds and to repent, basically. We're trying to get them to change their minds and let us know that we are human. And it has been proven that we do not come from apes, but they didn't understand us, and they thought that we were just that much different than them, that we couldn't have been the exact same as them in just a different color. They didn't understand it, and so that increased their hatred of us because people fear what they do not understand, which is the reason why people have some of the feelings that they do towards trans individuals, because they are not trans, so they cannot understand it, because they feel that it is a choice. How can you give up something like the privilege of being a man to be something less than a man and want to be a woman? How can you choose to give that up? But just like almost every gay person will tell you, they are not gay by choice. It is not a choice to be gay, just like it is not a choice to be trans. The only thing that we are choosing to do is live in our truth, which is even harder. It is even more difficult. It takes a braver soul. Not a weaker, not a lesser. We are not less than. We are just brave enough to walk around and live in our truth. And we are being brutalized for it. We are being beat for it. We are being killed for it because people just do not understand it. And they hate us because they don't understand it. That is exactly what we are trying to get white people not to do, is kill us because they fear us, because they think that they may be weaker and we may be bigger and we may be stronger, or they don't understand us. And they kill us because they are afraid of us. But we're doing the same thing to our own people because we don't understand them, because we think that it is a choice and we don't understand it, and we fear what we don't understand.
Right.
That is not right. How
Absolutely.
can we ask for these people to show us some mercy and some compassion when we can't do the same for our own? All those people sit out there and watch that girl get beat up like that by all those men and women, and watched and stood by and did nothing. And we are out here marching, saying to be silent is to be complicit. And look at how many people were out there and being complicit. Think about how many people are watching this on social media and being complicit because they are not talking about it, because they are being silent about it. They're being complicit in the beating of that Black transgender woman because they are not speaking up on our behalf.
Because even with the trans man, do you feel like Shaun King, Reverend Al Sharpton, all of these civil rights leaders should speak up about that? Because I still don't know. Do you know any information about that case? Because I know they said he was in police custody.
They should at least be asking the question.
Okay.
Because again, if this was a situation of a Black man, they would at least be asking the question, like they did with that young man in Chicago who was killed shortly after Mike Brown was, because he was walking down the street and he had a knife in his hand, and they could have just justified that as a reason for shooting him because he had a knife in his hand. But people asked the question and wanted to see that video and wanted more information out about it. And so they saw the video and saw that that boy was walking away from the police, and that officer arrived on the scene about 8 seconds prior to him just hopping out of his police car and shooting that young man 16 times. No one is even asking the questions. We don't have all the information. There was a fatal stabbing. Apparently, there was an altercation the day prior to. He was beat up, the news said. He made a Facebook post about getting revenge or something like that, and then this situation happened. The police officer apparently arrived at the scene, said he had a gun in his hand, and he just shot him. There were no questions asked. There was no restraint that was shown or anything like that, but we don't know the full story yet.
Right, because
But
we're
no
talking.
one is even asking the question,
Right,
to try and figure out
then-
or to
and
get
then-
the video or anything like
and this
that.
is about Tony McDay, correct? The 38-year-old
Correct.
that was shot in Tallahassee, Florida. And so with Iyanna, people in the chat were saying, oh, because she hit somebody and that's why they jumped her. Do you know any information? Because that's not what I received. I received that they jumped her because they were angry, because already in the videos that I saw, it was they were using gay slurs all through the video. They were smoking. The cisgender woman, she was really angry and upset, and they encouraged that behavior, and everybody was encouraging. It was like a mob type of behavior.
It was. And you hit someone and that was the retaliation? If it were a hit, I don't know the full story. I can only go off of the video that I have seen. And again, I didn't see a hit. Some people say that it was a fender bender, you know, similar to the situation last year with Malaysia Booker. I'm not sure. But again, one person hit one person, not 30 people.
Absolutely.
So that would again be excessive. That's like one black man hitting one police officer and then all 30 of them come and jump him. Did it take all 30 of you because he hit one person?
Mm. So, what do you think a solution that you suggest, that you propose, that need to be implemented to help solve this issue? Because I feel like it's a division between trans women, cisgender women, and the Black community as a whole. So, what do you suggest as a solution?
You know, I don't have all the answers.
Okay.
I won't pretend. You know, I know that, again, just sometimes educating yourself, opening your mind and your heart to be able to really try to understand someone else's path and life that they're having to walk along, similar to the same compassion and understanding that we want other groups of people like white people to have when they try to understand the struggle of being Black in America. That's it.
Mm-hmm. So,
and sometimes that in itself changes heart to mind.
Do you? I personally propose that a town hall meeting, we need to start the conversation between cisgender women, Black men, whether you're straight or gay. It needs to be a more national conversation. And yes, the media plays a, because the media misgender a lot of folks. And this is why it's so important for trans women to be in the seat of power in media. I encourage every trans sister to get a platform because you know your story better than anybody. Do you feel like it need to be more Black transgender women in media, whether it's a YouTube, whether it's on television? Do you feel like they need to be represented more?
Yeah, I definitely feel that our voices need to be better heard, and we need to have more seats at the table. I definitely agree with that, because, just like the phone game or the old game, telephone, where, you sit around a circle and one person starts what it's supposed to be, and then it goes around, and by the time we get back, it's something completely different. There's no difference there. Nobody can tell our struggles and tell our narratives and talk about our issues and our needs and lack of resources and things like that than our voices. So yeah, we definitely need to have more seats at the table so that people can better understand what it means to be trans, and specifically what it means to be Black and trans in America.
Absolutely. I mean, because you're speaking truth to the situation, and it's I even see in the chat that is some resistance because a lot of folks are not understanding of that, and a lot of folks need to be educated, because trans women been here. They didn't just come on the scene a year ago. They've been here forever. Right. And a lot of transgender sisters helped during the civil rights era. So it was trans women helping all over. It's just that they have not been, no one have taken the time out to really put them on that platform to educate the world about their, what did they contribute to the movement. And the sisters, I feel as though some of them are frustrated within the movement, within supporting Black Lives Matter, because they feel like they're not welcome. I've talked to one sister, she said, well, I don't feel comfortable because they call me the F word, they call me a man. So I don't even try to go out to a protest because I don't feel welcome.
Right. I mean, and that, doesn't this video paint that narrative?
Absolutely.
This happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota. In Minneapolis, where George Floyd was killed in front of millions of people on the internet, on camera.
Yes.
It happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And these same people marching, rioting, looting, or just protesting and being heard, these same individuals are the same ones that beat this young trans woman.
Absolutely.
Who's Black.
Absolutely. Do you want to take a couple of calls?
So how can you?
Do you want to take a couple of calls from the people? Okay, the number is 646-716-8447. I'm going to post it on the screen. We have Naomi on the line, and I sister, you need a platform too, a podcast, a radio show, because your voice needs to be heard. And I just don't want it to be we hear from the sisters when something bad happened. I mean, we need the infrastructure. I don't know, T.S. Madison spoke on the issue, but it's just her. We need more voices.
Yeah, I agree.
In order
we
for
definitely need more voices.
That narrative to come out. So let's go to last four 9369. Call you on the air. Last four 9369. You live on the air. Hello. Okay. All right. So if you're gonna call in, make sure you up to your phone, and this is the time that you can call in and ask your questions. I remember I was in Chicago and I was gonna do a protest, and we were talking, and I brought it up. I said, when are the movement gonna start talking about, gay men are getting attacked, black gay men, get abused and attacked, even transgender women. And the words that they were saying was just ugly. And these are folks that will scream Black power, hands up, don't shoot, I'm all about my people. But if you really ask them in those closed doors meetings, are you really for all people, gay people, trans women? And a lot of them will not stand, because they feel as though if I stand side by side with you or do this or stand up for this, people would think that I'm gay. And I don't know.
That's stigma.
Yeah. Ain't that crazy?
That is stigma.
Wow.
Yes, people don't. Stigma, synonyms, shame, disgrace, dishonor, tainted. Those are synonyms of stigma because of the shame that people have and put on being a homosexual or trans individual, because of the disgrace and the dishonor that it brings to you and your family because of their association with you, because you are gay or because you are trans, because of stigma, which is the reason why Black people are dying disproportionately more from HIV. We make up 13% of the population in the United States, but around 46% of HIV infection. That is the reason why. Because gay men or even bisexual men or even heterosexual men don't want to go to a clinic and get tested to make sure that they're good, because of the stigma and the shame that is attached to HIV, because it was once considered to be a gay person's disease, even though we know that to not be true today. Black cisgender women are number 3 for new HIV infection. And it's not because they're having sex with transgender individuals or because they're having sex with Black gay men or gay men in general. It is because they are having sex, period. But because of the stigma and the shame attached to being gay, some people won't even take their meds because of the stigma and shame that is attached to HIV, because they will be looked at as being gay. So you're right. Why would they stand up next to us and fight for something that they don't care that much about if they don't care about their own lives? Because of the stigma attached to being a part of the LGBT community.
All right. We got 2 callers on. We're going to 2822. Caller, you on?
Hello?
Hey.
Hello.
Oh, hi. So I am with my sister here, and we are straight women, and we are listening to your podcast, and we understand what you are talking about. However, someone in the comments mentioned that there was an escalation before the person was just jumped. Apparently, they got into an accident of some sort. The trans woman hit someone's car, then got into an argument with a woman, and then tried to beat up the woman, and then the guy jumped in. So it wasn't an attack on a trans woman. It was a protection of a Black woman. And also, that it's not related to Black Lives Matter. No one is sitting here saying Black Lives Matter but trans women, but trans. We're saying Black Lives Matter, period. We're not playing the division game right now. We're trying to unite. So for people to be coming on here talking about, their personal experiences, not saying that they are invalid. However, now is the time for unity. Why are we separating ourselves? We are fighting for all of you. We've been to the protest. Are the people who are saying that especially, I don't know who that was, but somebody said, well, I have to carry something to the protest being fearful of Black people as much as I have to fear the police. That's not true.
No.
Nobody's looking for your sexual
Protesters are
we
not.
into the protest.
Yeah.
We are fighting for each other. We are even hugging white people who we are screaming against because we see them and we see that they are fighting with us.
Peacefully.
Peacefully. We are not sitting here separating. So I feel like this conversation is such an inappropriate moment because right now we should be uniting on all fronts. We don't matter. Black lives matter. Period.
And that's a particular case that's not every day, that's not everyone, and we're not debunking the fact that you guys have your own struggles. We love everyone. You know, I can speak for us. I can't speak for everyone, but us and the people we know, we're never against trans or anyone. Whatever you choose to be, we love it, just as long as you're living your truth. So you speaking for the protesters, it's just unfair. I think what they did was dirty and wrong. I don't think it's okay, but I think that we should treat that as a specific occurrence, not something that's always happening. So that's why I felt like it was important for us to speak as people that are there and feeling all the love and looking around and seeing all these colorful faces and these people and these, you know, men, women, babies, everyone coming out together and saying, this is not acceptable. But already the whole protest has been tarnished or tried to be tarnished by everyone talking about we're stealing or we're destroying property. And then people saying that we're destroying Black businesses. This is not okay. And I think we're standing up and saying, listen, then you're adding this to it. And it's like, it has to stop. We are trying to come together as Black people, and the messed up people that sat there and did that to that person is not okay. But right now, we are focused on us as a whole.
Right, especially if that was to happen at a Black Lives Matter protest and they turned around and said, hey, y'all are trans, y'all not supposed to be here and beat them up, that would be definitely a conversation we would have to have. But the fact that that was unrelated to Black Lives Matter and it
does not associate the two.
There was a escalation of a actual fight before that, and then the person got done. I feel like that makes the tie with Black Lives Matter not there. There's
no correlation there.
We have white people sitting here fucking stealing in the name
and
of
we're getting blamed for it.
Right. We have cops busting in windows, videos of cops busting in windows,
and we're there fearlessly.
And I want to interject and let her answer. Naomi, do you want to respond to the ladies on the line? Yeah, go ahead, Naomi.
I'm sorry, I apologize. I thought we were taking questions. I didn't hear one. There,
because what there is,
I'm not sure they even heard what we said.
Right, because I think they're really in a statement because the woman was jumped, but all of those Black men and a cisgender woman, I just think that should be condemned, not excused. That behavior should be condemned, and those Black men that did it should be charged to the fullest of the law. Keith Ellison, the Attorney General of Minnesota, should investigate, and every single person that put hands on her, they should be charged because that is wrong. That was a crime. And if that was anybody else, if that was your sister or brother, you would want the same justice for your family member. And I feel as though that it get discarded because it's trans. If that was a cisgender woman getting jumped by those Black men, it would be a whole nother type of conversation. But since it's transgender, since that she don't look like you, or she don't come from where you come from, so it's a different type of approach. But again, we should have that conversation and we should condemn that behavior, and that should come from the Black Lives Matter movement as well as any other organization. It should be condemned.
It should be condemned. However, this has nothing to do with the Black Lives Matter. It has to do with the fact that that specific trans woman who is circulating right now while Black Lives Matter is trending had gotten into an altercation and beat on a Black woman. They got into a fight and then got jumped. That has nothing to do with, that's not a hate crime. That's not Black men saying, hey, because you're trans, I'm beating you up. That's not.
Well, they were using the F word. They were saying that was a man. They were using a lot of homophobic slurs through that entire video. It was a lot of that. It was a lot of hatred in the video. I don't know what video you watch. I've seen like multiple videos for like different accounts, and there was a lot of hatred. Like They were coming at her
No.
because a lot of them felt as though that wasn't a woman, that was a man that they were putting their hands on. So there was a lot of that hatred on that video. So I personally believe that it should be
That's what we're
classified as a
asking for you
hate
guys
crime.
to separate that.
No, I don't think it should be separated. No, I challenge that. I think that should be in it as well. Because if we don't have that in it as well, then what does that mean? We're just going to speak up when an officer does something to us, and we're not going to speak up when we do something to each other?
No, but okay, Riley, no.
I'm just saying.
Black Lives Matter, period.
That's what we're saying.
We're saying, but you're not separate because you're trans.
You're
saying
black.
You're black.
It doesn't matter. Anything else matters. You're black.
For you, there's pregnant people getting killed to march.
Yeah, and you guys aren't saying anything about it. There's pregnant people that are getting killed to march for every black person. So what are you talking about?
Marching. There's people everywhere around this world fighting for Black lives. We are not separating right now. That is the point. Is why
that's what we're saying.
Right now. Especially separating with a topic that had nothing to do with
There's no
Black
connection.
Lives.
Exactly.
If
no connection to the BLM movement.
Up at Black Lives Matter protests because they were trans, that would definitely be this conversation, and we would definitely have to address that.
Mm-hmm.
But because that was a separate situation, that doesn't have to do with the Black Lives Matter movement. Not saying that your life doesn't matter because you're black. We are saying your life matters.
Okay.
That's why all of our lives matter. That's why
All
we're
right.
fighting.
Thank you, ladies. Okay. Thank you for that. All right. We're gonna go to another call. They have a right to appear. I just disagree. 7142, calling on the air. 714. Yes, go ahead. 71.
Yeah, listen, man. I got nothing against anything that's going on, but those two girls took the words right out of my mouth.
Okay.
They pretty much were saying all lives matter, right? I do agree with that. But when it comes to this situation, I agree that it should not be compared with the Black movement, like, because we don't know. We see these videos and we judge them based off what we see. We don't know what happened prior to the video. I heard she was driving drunk. I don't know. She damaged a couple cars. First of all, once you drive drunk, you have no regard for anyone's life, period. So I heard that happen, and then she attacked a woman. So being born a man and, moving over to transgender, right, we're not going to judge you. All right, you can do what you got to do. But if you get locked up, they're going to treat you as a man. You're not going to an all-woman prison.
That's not true.
So
that's not true. In certain places, that have changed. That have changed. I don't know where you're from. I know in Cook County, that's not all the way true. I don't know where you're from.
New York. I don't know how they do it here.
Okay.
From what I've seen, it's all right. But like I said, if you're a man and you get into a fight with, if you're a transgender female and you get into a fight with a woman, you're already overpowering that woman. So if they get into a fight and
but I don't know what video you're saying because it wasn't stand a chance because she got jumped by men and a woman. It was a lot of them. I don't know what video you saw. It was like over 8, 9, 10 people. It was like a 10 against 1. That was a mob attack.
You realize why she got jumped?
That was hatred. I don't care what the reason was for all of those people and the stuff that they were saying and to follow her into the store and to address her in the video that I seen. That should be condemned. That was my behavior, and all of those people should be charged with a hate crime because that's what it was, and that's how I'm going to interpret it. It should get condemned and thrown in jail because what they did was wrong. That behavior should not be excused by nobody. I cannot allow you to excuse that behavior because if that was a police officer and they would have jumped on a woman, it would have been international outrage. But we can't. We have to have that same energy when a black person does something to somebody. We have to keep that same energy. We have to keep that same energy. That's what I'm saying.
Let me ask you a question. Should they be charged with a crime or should they be charged specifically with a hate crime?
They should be charged with a hate crime and they should be thrown in prison because they broke the law. They jumped on her and the hatred of it is because she was trans. They came at her with hatred because they said in the video, even the words, even the language that they were using, it was all on the video. And that happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So they
did prior to them jumping, that just goes out the window. window.
That doesn't go or
somebody-
prior because whatever.
Let's say, God forbid, let's say it was your mom. That person walked up to.
If you follow someone into the store, sir, the video that I seen following her into the store came after her behind the counter. All of them charged at that woman. That was wrong. You don't see. You didn't see that. You didn't see that video. Like it's out there. I'm gonna. It's all out there. It was wrong. That's a hate crime.
So the thousands of people that's saying that something went on before they jumped her, you're not.
I'm not believing that something went on for that type of behavior of them attacking her without even calling the authorities. They literally put it in their own hands to a mob attack. All of them rushed at her, and the store person had to intervene. It's very painful and it's disgusting to watch. And I'm not going to allow no one to excuse that type of behavior. It needs to be condemned. It needs to be condemned. That's just my personal opinion, sir. We're going to have to agree to disagree. That behavior should be condemned. Thank you.
All right, but it should be condemned, but not as a hate crime.
All right, thank you. All right. But it's the conversation that needs to be had. And Naomi, do you feel as though in this conversation that everything that you were saying, you see the results of it, that it is a division, that it exists? Because clearly, even on the phone, you hear the division, right? You hear it. This is what trans women is talking about. They don't feel welcome. Naomi, you there?
Yeah.
They don't.
I am. I just hear a bunch of people making excuses and giving reasons and justification for the behavior. I'm floored, appalled, flabbergasted, whatever you want to call it. I am outdone. Okay, simply put, because I guess that it takes 30 people to whoop one person for getting into a fight with a woman. So my thing is this: if it were about that, why was she allowed to even walk away from that fight? Why did y'all not jump her while she was beating up the woman? If you were that enraged, if you were that upset about it, why did you not do something then? But for this to apparently have been so long after that they are at a store and several minutes have gone by before the fight actually happens in the video, because the one I saw was about 16 minutes long and it took the first 9 to 10 minutes for anything to happen. So if you were that enraged, then why was this reaction not taken immediately? To me, it seemed very calculated, and it was because it was a transgender woman. And everyone took the opportunity to express their displeasure, disdain, hatred, and feelings about a trans woman while she was getting whooped. So they have to get their licks in too.
And I want to pause right there, Naomi. I definitely want to get an update. We just got an update. Senator Kamala Harris posted this tweet, and I'm going to read it to you all. She just posted this. She said, "All Black lives matter. That includes Black trans women." So again, she is the senator from California, and so she put this out there, this tweet, and that's what this is the conversation that we're having. We're talking about inclusion. We're talking about to welcoming your sister, and that includes trans women. So what do you have to say about that? Are you happy that now a politician, someone of that stature, is speaking out?
It's a start.
Yes.
It's definitely a start. And I applaud her for taking that stance. But, we need, and I don't want to say but, period. And we need more people to start speaking up on our behalf.
Absolutely.
Because when you say but or any synonym thereof, such as, however, it negates everything you said before it. And that's all I heard in all of those calls prior to was, yeah, I don't like it, but yeah, it's not right, but yeah, it should be condemned, but, which means that everything that you said before that but is erased, and only only thing that matters is what you say after that but, because it negated everything you said prior to. And that's all I heard was a bunch of justifications and excuses and reasons why they were okay with it. And somehow it seems to me that these people think by us talking about something that we didn't put on the internet, the people that were in this act put that on the internet. All we're doing is talking about something that's already out there. We're not making it more of an issue than it was once they posted the video online because they liked what they had just done. So somehow for us to be asked to not have the conversation about an act of violence that occurred to someone in our community, which happens quite often at the hands of the same Black people that are out here asking white people to stop killing, we're not supposed to talk about it now?
The phone lines is open.
We didn't post that video.
You're right.
We're just talking about it.
Absolutely.
And somehow we're wrong for talking about it and saying that all Black lives matter. All we're doing is adding a pronoun in there. Because when you say Black lives matter, that means Black men lives matter, Black women lives matter, Black trans lives matter, Black gay lives matter, Black children lives matter.
Absolutely.
All we're doing is adding a pronoun.
Absolutely. So we're going to the phone lines. Anonymous, you live on the air.
Hey, well, this is an icon from New York. I just want to say thank you for having this topic. This is a strong topic. I was praying that you did discuss this topic because I did see on T.S. Madison page today. It's just heartbreaking because Black equals Black. Black means everyone that's considered Black. Because Black lives do matter. And to my understanding, wasn't it a Black transgender that created Black Lives Matter?
Okay, I don't know. I don't know who created it. I thought it was two lesbians that created it, if I'm not mistaken. Two African American women that were lesbian. I don't know. I can't confirm or deny that. But what's your statement on it? What's your what's your input on this?
The video definitely a hate crime. Yeah, the last previous caller that called in, he has to know the definition of a hate crime and not a crime. A hate crime is when you call out, for example, gay, F, trans, that's a hate crime. Okay? And that's what I've seen. And he's saying thousands of other people are saying more happened prior to. Where is the footage? They all had cameras, so why just record that part? And just because someone hits it, you're not going to bully me to give you cash. I'm calling the police to get that police report for both parties. Not because I'm trans, you're going to try to be the aggressor and try to get cash out of me and then beat me because I don't have the cash or I'm not giving you the cash. Right. And this is what I'm upset about, because every male that was at the scene, majorities of those males be the nice ones that you can that are into a trans woman. And I don't like that.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that icon from there. I'm gonna move on to the next caller. Thank you, caller. Thank you for that. All right. 64671684447. We got 3 callers on. We're gonna keep it short because we can't keep our guests all day. 8018 calling on the air.
Hey, Wiley, you already know I was going to call in, and hello to the young lady that is on the line. I wanted to say that I was disgusted when I saw that video. I was highly disgusted. I was disgusted to see all of these people, all of these Black men, and there were even, I guess, the store owners. They weren't Black, but all of these people around, regardless of race, that did nothing to help and protect her. But I also want to address one other thing. You had a call. Wiley, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes,
we
can.
Okay. You had a caller that called in and said, If he or she was arrested, he would be put with the males. That is not true. If you identify as trans, male or female, they put you where you want to go. They're not going to put a trans female in with men. They're just not going to do it. It's what you identify as. And I know because we did that. And that is all over. That's the law. You can't do that. And the other thing that I wanted to cover is someone said in a chat about trans men. Trans men are also, let's not forget them, because they are also being murdered at a high rate. I noticed with the trans community also that the trans community, now I could be wrong, I love everybody, I worked with them personally also when I was, just before I retired. And the one thing that I did not understand is why the trans women did not, they always had an issue with, I guess we are considered as cisgendered women.
Mm-hmm.
It was always an issue. Not all of us think the same way, sweetheart. Not all of us think that just because you were born a man and now you're a woman that we still look at you as men. I am one of the many millions of women that do not look at you like that. If you say you're a woman, you're a woman. I have no right to judge you, and neither does anyone else in this chat. And we also have to remember what's going on right now. It's about all Black lives that matter. We keep trying to separate ourselves. The trans community wants to separate themselves from the movement that's going on now. No, we are fighting for all. The hate crimes that happen, this is all included. We are not separated because at the end of the day, we are still Black. I hope that I sum that up. And if I forgot anything else, somebody said to me in the chat, I'll call back in and ask. But we're one. As long as the color of your skin and you identify as Black, sweetheart, we are all as one. And I do condemn what they did to her. And I am pissed at the fact that no one helped her. And all I kept saying when I was looking at that video was, I could not just stand there as a woman and allow these men to beat on her like that. I just couldn't do it. And I'm not contradicting myself. I agree on both sides. That's all I had to say, Wiley.
All right. Thank you so very much.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I think that you did a great job conveying your appointment and summarizing everything that you had to say. I agree with primarily everything that you said. The only thing that I would correct or speak against is that we're not trying to separate from the Black trans or the Black Lives Matter movement. We're trying to be included, and we're trying to not be forgotten that Black trans lives matter and that trans lives matter. So it's definitely not us wanting to be separate. It's us wanting to be a part of and to be included. Someone said something to me today, or online, that I read, that said that one of the reasons that they're scared and afraid to get out there being a trans individual is that they fear if they do go out there and get locked up, that they may get locked up with the men, just because someone may not have a policy in place or not practicing a policy that's in place and puts them with the men, and then they're stuck in there to deal with that. So some of these fears are real, and it's definitely not us wanting to be separate. It's wanting to be included.
Absolutely.
But everything else that you said, I definitely agree. I do not feel personally that, all cisgender women have a problem with us. I have some great, wonderful cisgender women sisters who look at me as nothing other than their sister in good times and bad times and hard times and mad times. Baby, it don't matter. I am their sister. So I agree with you. I do not treat all of them the same. And I think that no one should, because everyone is their own individual selves. So I definitely agree with, like I said, pretty much everything that you said. And thank you.
All right. We got 2 more calls. I can let you go now. Do you want to take these 2 callers? Are you good for that? Naomi, you want me to take the 2 callers?
Oh, yeah. No, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
You're good.
I just want to make sure. All right. We're going to take these 2 callers. We're going to move on to our next guest. because we don't want to hold Naomi all day. But we want to thank you. 4438 caller, you on the air. 4438, last four. 4438. Okay, we're gonna move on to 0574. Caller, you on the air. 0574.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, caller.
Okay, I'm calling in because I listened to some of the earlier callers, and I just wanted to hear what they were saying. They were talking about what happened prior. We didn't see what happened prior. And they just took me back to Andre Aubrey, the guy who was jogging. And then they started trying to find what was he doing and where he was jogging. And they finally found out he was just drinking water, jogging through a place. Why do we keep looking for what people were doing? That justifies them getting beat or killed. Same thing with the man in Minneapolis. They just came back today and said the 20 was real. They said that why he was being arrested because he was trying to pass a bad 20. Now today the 20 is real. That man's gone. So,
and I agree.
Hello?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I agree. And I just wanted to add to your point. They did the same thing to Mike Brown. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. I was living in St. Louis, Missouri, 3 minutes from where the Ferguson riot started and Mike Brown was killed. And they tried to do the same thing to him, figure out what he was up to and what he was doing before the police officer shot him and tried to say he was strong arm robbing the store clerk in the neighborhood market that he was in. Why did any of that matter? The result is this young man is dead. Why did that matter? Like you said.
Exactly. And the young lady we're talking about right now, if she hit a car and she had an altercation with the driver, does it take 30 people to beat the crap out of her? Is that reciprocity? Is that equal? No.
All right.
And I listened to T.S. Madison's show and a substance that she had with Flame Monroe today. They talked about how they've asked transgender and gay people to step back. And like you said, I think the Black Lives Matter movement was started by Black lesbians, and Delray McKesson was one of the faces of it for a long time. And he went to jail and got beat up, and he's a gay man. But he's asked constantly to step back, and I don't know where he is now, but we're not taken away. I don't think gay people are taken away from the transgender people are taken away from the movement. You need not be pushing us back.
All right. Thank you so very much, sir, for that. Naomi, your closing remarks.
All right. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Your closing remarks, because I don't know how we had you for a good
old
hour.
I just want to thank everyone. Thank you so much for bringing light and awareness to this issue.
Yes, ma'am.
I just think that we all just need to do better and love on each other a lot more than we do, and try to put ourselves in other people's shoes sometimes, and stop always trying to figure other people out or understand other people, and just accept people for who they are, like we want to be ultimately accepted for just who we are. And if we worry about self a little bit more and less about other people, I think that would also cut down on a lot of things that go on these days, especially as it pertains to, prejudice and racism, and different things like that, and some of the homophobia and transphobia and divisiveness within the LGBT community. If people just did a little bit better job of self-care, mental health, and making sure their selves are good, then maybe we could accept people. We could open ourselves up to learn and understand maybe a little bit more, or just be more loving and merciful and compassionate, regardless of what we don't understand, and just accept people for who they are. And ultimately, I believe that's what most of us want, just to be accepted for who we are.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter whether you understand us or not. But I thank you so much, like I said, for this conversation and for allowing us to have a platform and an opportunity to talk about just one incident in the daily lives of being Black and trans in America, because this is just one of many stories. Again, we saw the exact same situation almost a year ago with Miss Malaysia Booker, who's no longer with us. So it's not like this is not something that happens all the time. It does.
Absolutely.
It does. But thank you so much, and I really appreciate it. And you guys, you know, if you're looking for any organizations, you know, donate to a Black trans organization or an organization like Abounding Prosperity, who has a great trans program and invest in Black trans as well as Black gay men and
Absolutely.
bisexual men.
And that's why I was able to
Support
get my prep. Thank you. All right. That was
You're
our,
welcome.
you
Thank
guys.
you.
All right. Thank you to Naomi for that. Now we move to our another segment with Dwight. How you doing, brother?
How's it going? How are you?
Is that your place or is that a green screen? You don't want to be messy. Is that a green screen?
No, this is my home.
Okay.
See my chair.
Okay, all right. They have a green screen. They have
I'm not trying to see. I'm trying to be positive. I'm not trying to be messy.
Okay.
Circle. You know, because some of the girls fake things. I'm real.
So we want to continue the conversation going. You did see the video. What was your thoughts when you saw about Iyanna Dior? When you seen the video, I saw it on T.S. Madison video. But what was going through your mind when you watched the video?
No, like all jokes aside, I know I'm on a platform where, you know, I try to, you know, lead with positivity. I'm on a show where we throw shade and that type of thing. But at the end of the day, I'm always about respect. And it's heartbreaking to see that. And my struggle, for me personally, it has been so hard for me to get behind Black Lives Matter because I felt like it matters until it has to do with a queer person. And I remember when the movement first came about, I felt like, you know, I mean, I'm here for it and I get it, but I get bullied, attacked, slanderized, and verbally abused. I was attacked once on a train in New York by 3 young Black boys just because I was sitting there reading my book and obviously I was gay. And for me, it was like, you know, it's really hard to get behind a cause that I feel like I'm not even a part of. And however, as things have continued to progress and continue to happen, you know, eventually I put on my badge of honor of Black Lives Matter. And things like that happen. And it upsets me. It breaks my heart because that's our sister. That's your sister. That's the people that attack, that's their sister. And it's like Black Lives Matter until it's dealing with queer people. So I was very upset. I was furious, actually. I was furious to see that video.
Do you feel like the civil rights leader are just not? Do you feel like they're silent on this? Do you feel like the Sean Kings are silent on this? Do you feel like all of the ones that are so vocal are silent on this when it comes to queer folks?
Absolutely, they are. The voices that I hear when it comes to queer individuals and to our transgender sisters are the Laverne Coxes, the Dominique Jacksons, the Daisha Smiths, the Isis Kings. It's women within that community that's standing up. But what support are we offering them? And I mean, that's why I actually started my own nonprofit, Beauty with a Cause. Thank God 2 weeks ago, we actually got a physical sponsorship so I can actually start accepting money and things like that as this continues to progress, because no one's out there protecting my sisters. They're not. And it's not fair. And even as a gay man, I find that a lot of gay men don't support our trans sisters and brothers. It's like they are the bottom of the bottom. And why do we do that? And it's so heartbreaking because I'm out here yelling Black Lives Matter and I want people to support me and help me, but I'm not doing the same thing for them.
Absolutely.
It's being a hypocrite. That's what it is. It's being very hypocritical.
And I feel as though that a conversation, do you feel like a public forum need to happen, a town hall, something? Because do you feel like it's just because I wonder why it's such a division? I asked Naomi, of course, she works with a great organization in Dallas, that's what About in Prosperity. I'm going to ask you, why is it that division exists between queer folks and the Black community as a whole? Why is it that division?
The division actually exists because of the way we were brought up. It's true. And especially in the South, especially when the church is involved, we were taught at a young age that that's wrong, that that's a sin. So by showing support to those individuals, a lot of the cis community especially cis heterosexual community feel that, well, I'm not supporting that because that's wrong, it's a sin. And I think that's buried in their thoughts and in the thought process, and that's what's taking place. Do I think a town hall meeting will work? For some, it will. Like, the way I describe this whole situation is, it's going to take everyone. And I hear people on this, white people are like, oh, all lives matter. No, not all lives matter. If that was the case, then there wouldn't be a Black Lives Matter movement. But what it is, all voices matter, and it's going to take all of our voices to stand up and do something about this. It's going to take all of us to open our minds and think differently in order to make change. It's like a puzzle. When you put together a puzzle, some pieces are bigger, some pieces are smaller. But in order to complete that picture, no matter how big or small that piece of that puzzle is, it's all needed. It's all important to complete the whole picture.
Absolutely. Because, and this is why I'm critical of the trans community in this sense, that they need to be represented more in media by getting a YouTube channel, starting a radio show, a podcast, because it's up to them to control their narrative. Because I don't want it when something bad happened. Okay, that's when we speak. They need to be talking, really building a media infrastructure now. So when things of this happen, you can get the message across and also educate folks as well.
But what are we doing to support them?
Okay.
In making that happen? Because one thing I learned was very much the hard way. And I remember going to a Flux event. They were doing, they were celebrating a sister. She got like a Lifetime Achievement Award or something. And when she gave her speech, I like burst out into tears. And that's when I said, you know, I want to do better. I want to help my trans sisters. Like this, I'm going to jump on board of that to support them. And she explained how when she leaves her house every morning, she doesn't know if she's going to get home. Throughout the day, she's worried. Not only is she being bullied by, you know, the typical people that we consider, you know, homophobic. She's being bullied by them. She's being bullied by their children. She's being bullied by us, other gay men. Throughout her day, she leaves her house and she does not know if she's going to get home safe. So with that on your mind already, doing so many other things, the last thing on your mind is to create a YouTube channel. You have other things going in your mind. I don't have the same fight that she has. I don't walk the same walk that she has. And hearing that, it said to me, what can I do to support you? What can I do to help? How can I extend my hand? How can I provide the resources I have? Like, we all have different battles to fight. And I'm not saying, you know, every gay man has it, you know, crystal perfect, amazing life. But what I will say is my life is a little bit more easier than a lot of my trans sisters. So how can I utilize my resources to assist them in their journey to greatness?
Right, because even with Breonna Taylor, that's a cisgender woman. Her don't get as much media attention as George Floyd. So it's even division with Black women are not very represented. It was cases that Black sisters were getting attacked and shot at in Chicago by the Latin Kings. Cases of that came up, and that rarely gets international news. Women, period, gets not the best treatment. But then when you talk about trans women, it's like it's even below that. Because that's like they got almost like triple the discrimination, if that's a word. Almost. But I feel as though that it's up to us as men, because we're men, gay or whatever. We have privilege because, and I think that's why it's important to you. And I finally understood the privilege you as a man putting that on your platform, even though I'm going to get resistance because the majority of my audience are cisgender and they don't really see it for trans girls. Just to be clear, some of them really don't see it for because they don't look at them as women. You're right? Because you can tell in the spirit and the resistance of them not really understanding. They can't fathom that all these people jumped on her. The outrage is just not there. But if that was one of them getting jumped by all of those men, it'd have been a different story.
It would have been a completely different story. Absolutely. That's so true. That dialogue wouldn't have been the same. It wouldn't have been that many men, and people would have actually jumped in to support a cisgender woman.
Absolutely.
That story would have been completely different.
Absolutely. So I want to get your piece on George Floyd. How did that make you feel as a man and as a gay Black man, hearing that, seeing it on the news? How are you handling that? How are you dealing with that? Do you have anxiety?
I want to be completely honest. If I'm being completely honest, and I kind of talked about this a little bit on my podcast today, I did a shorter version because I'm definitely taking this. I'm taking Blackout Tuesday even further. Like I'm definitely still allowing my platform to be heard, but really utilizing it for this. And it just dawned on me Monday that I'm a token Black man. I realized this because so many white people, and no offense to them, because I know they meant no harm. Like white people I have not spoken to in forever reached out to me to ask me, how can we support? What can we do? And I was thinking like, I haven't heard from you in so long. Like, so there's really nobody Black in your life that you communicate with on a regular basis that you could have reached out to ask these questions to. Because those white people that are in my circle, like the Marys from the circle, Mary did not have to call me and figure out how I need her to support me. Because Mary already knows. Yes. Mary knows. I had one woman, I have not talked to her in a year and a half, text me, oh my God, how are you? And I was like, question mark, question mark. She's like, with everything going on, how are you? And I'm thinking, am I the only Black person in your phone? Like, am I your token friend? Another individual sent me a photo, and I know he meant no harm. It was a picture of him and 5 other Black men, and they all had on rainbow colored shirts. And he asked me, mind you, I was not in the picture. He asked me, do you think that it's disrespectful for me to put this picture up and tag Black Lives Matter, but also tag Pride? And I thought to myself, why did you not ask anybody in that picture? I have not spoken to this man since June of last year, but I was the only Black person you could reach out to. Then I looked closer and noticed that my best friend was one of the people in the picture who he only met one time through me when he was in New York for Pride. Wow. So you're choosing to put up a photo of various colored people. Don't get me wrong. Like I know your heart's in the right place, but that just showed me that you don't fuck with us. You don't have Black people in your life on a regular, and I'm that person you felt comfortable enough to reach out to. So I questioned myself, what have I done around you to make you feel discomfortable that I'm your go-to person to go to in a situation like this? So for that, I let my people down. Why? Because when Black subjects come up at work, sometimes around, white people, I may not speak up the way I'm supposed to. I may kind of not say anything. I may kind of put myself in a shell. Why? Because I'm sitting at the table? No, because I don't feel comfortable to say it. And it really dawned on me this week, like, wow, I'm a part of the problem. I've enabled this. I had another friend that reached out. He said on a conference call at work, he works in corporate America, somebody white had the nerve to say, well, maybe if we shoot all of them, they'll stop looting. And that'll send the message to other people not to loot. I asked my friend, does he still have his job? He does. But let the news had known that, he would have lost his job. It's only a problem when it's public. And the people that are hindering from getting public are people like myself that are sitting at the table and allowing this shit to happen. And that hurt me and that bothered me.
All right. We have a caller. Go ahead, Sister 8018.
Hey, Wiley, it's me again.
Hey.
The chat, yes, the chat is really involved in this. And I do understand why. I'm going to say it again. The community has got to stop separating themselves because this has been going on for a long time. They constantly separate themselves, trans, separated from women. Breonna Taylor was murdered in her home. We aren't even covering that. I'm not hearing people talking about this woman that was murdered in her home. And Shopper Style is exactly right. That's one of the producers. No one is fighting for that. Black women, and let me say this, because I'm for everybody, but I want it to be known. Black women are being murdered, have been murdered for years and years by white men, Latino men, Asian men, Black female prostitutes. Let's get into that. Black female prostitution. Do you know how many Black women have been found floating in a river? Prostitutes? We aren't separating. We're not trying to separate, as they say, cisgender women from trans women. We are all women. Not stop putting us all in the hate box. Not all of us have a distaste for trans women and gay men. We're all Black at the end of the day. There's an issue going on right now. People are being murdered. It's sad what happened yesterday to the young lady, but there is an issue that is going on. We are fighting for all of our rights. We're not just fighting for a straight man or straight woman. We're fighting or just trans women and trans men or gay men. We're fighting for everybody. And let's not lose focus of that. We can bring attention. Yes, we should bring attention to what happened to her, because what happened to her should not have happened. I don't care what took place, but what I saw, that should not have happened. So stop separating yourselves. We're all Black at the end of the day. Black women been getting murdered. Black women, I saw a video of a Black woman being raped and beaten on a video. Riley, one day I'm going to tell you just an inkling of the stuff that I have seen. Okay, stop separating yourselves. We're all Black. I understand everybody isn't going to like each other, but that is not the majority of us. The majority of us Black males and females, we love each other. Stop putting us all in that same box, because that's not true. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
I know
No, thank you. It's true. It's true. And she's absolutely right. We're divided, and we shouldn't be. When they look at us, when they're killing us, they don't look at he's a gay man, he's a straight man, she's a woman, this is a child. They just see Black.
Absolutely.
They just see Black.
Absolutely. But I more so with the trans sisters are speaking about, they don't feel welcome. They don't feel like their stories are being heard.
And it's not. And they're absolutely right.
That's what they feel like. They get very frustrated that, hey, we on the front lines, but when something happens to one of our sisters, we don't.
Where are you?
Outrage from the community as a whole. So that's what they're coming from. I don't think they're trying to divide themselves. I just think the division is just there.
No, I think the division is just there, and I think it is intentional, but not by them.
Right.
It's by the others. That's why I started Black. I actually I watched the episode of Pose where Angelica's character, Candy, was killed off the show. And I went on social media and saw how people was boo-hooing and crying and people that love the show. And I'm like, wait a minute. I cried for 2 hours. I kid you not. Because I know of sisters in real life, not fictional on a show, that's lost their lives. And I didn't see that much concern or heartbreak on my timeline. And I was pissed. And somebody asked me, what are you going to do about it? And the other side person is, you challenge me, I'm going to show you, boo. I'm going to show you. So what did I do? I band together. I got my allies, and I created something to help. I want to be a part of the solution. I don't want to be a part of the problem. I want my sisters to know I am here. I'm your brother. I'm here to support you, and I love you.
Absolutely. You're exactly right on that part. Because I've lost so many trans sisters that I've known. One person just recently passed just a couple of months after Malaysia Booker passed, and I was actually at Malaysia Booker homegoing service, and still it was like a division on that, because some family members, they struggle with pronouns, they struggle with that, and so it's just all the way around. And I thought I had it rough, but trans women, like, wow, I just oh my gosh, they have it really, rough for them and what they go through, and they daily struggle. Even for those even trying to survive, it's a struggle, especially if you're in the South. If you're in a place like Texas, it's really rough for you as a trans woman, especially if you're Black. How do you think we can change this?
How can we change this? That's such a good question. I think one way of changing it is little things as far as pronouns, like you just said. Respect for all. Like, that's where we have to start. And I actually had a friend, a cisgender woman, that was staying with me for a while, and I put her out of my house because she disrespected one of my trans sisters by misusing her pronoun, and she wasn't even around. We were having a conversation. She kept referring to her as he, and I'm like, she's not a he. Put her right out of my house, because if you're going to be in my home, you're going to respect all my loved ones.
Absolutely.
So starting there is one. I think actually not just saying I want to be a part of the solution. As the young woman said before I was on, she made the comment, like, supporting organizations that are out there doing that. Like, in asking the question, how can I support you? How many times do we actually go out our way to ask them how we can support them? When you go to somebody's house for a party and they washing dishes, you ask, can I help wash the dishes? It's the same thing. It's common courtesy because they do have it a lot harder than most of us. And it's just hopeful to know that I have someone supporting me.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. We got a caller for 6716. Oh, here we go. 4186 calling on air. 416. There you go. Hello, last four. 4186. Hello. All right.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, caller.
Hi.
Go ahead, caller. 41.
Hello.
Yes, you're live on the air.
Hello.
Okay. I guess they having connection issues. So I think that it's a conversation even with Breonna Taylor. That is just sad. You know, going to someone's place, murdering them. I've seen it happen in Dallas, Texas. A young man was in this apartment getting shot. You know, it's ridiculous. And my solution is we need policy change from the bottom, the middle, the top, from all levels of government, because it's required of them to do for us. Do you feel as though Vice President Joe Biden should pick a Black woman to be his VP choice? Do you feel like that should be demanding of him to do so?
To be honest, at this point, I haven't made my mind up as far as who I think would be the best candidate. I definitely think that there definitely, I have a woman in mind that I think would be incredible, a Black woman. However, I think at the end of the day, it should be someone that's going to get the job done. I personally am just, and this is going to sound bad, it's like, damn if you do, damn if you don't. I know when everyone was saying, oh, I want Michelle Obama to run for president. I was so against that. Because I love her so much, I don't want her to deal with the public scrutiny and the racist behavior of this country. Because at the end of the day, I don't care how strong you are, there are emotions that are there.
Right.
People do hurt you. And the way they talked about their family when they were in the White House, right. I don't want her to endure that as running for president. So it's one of those things where I would love to see a Black woman in the office, but I already know the things they're going to say and how they're going to tear her down. Like, selfishly, that mothering spirit about me is like, that nurturing spirit, like, I want to protect this person. Like, I don't want them to deal with that. However, for that young girl that's looking up to, or young boy looking up to them, it's very inspiring to see yourself, in a position like that. But I think ultimately, I've always been pro-Biden. From the beginning, I thought that he'd be a great candidate, and I trust that him and his team will make the appropriate decision on somebody to support in the process.
And for me, it need to be a Black woman, and I say this humbly: Black women have voted at a high number, higher than Black men, and I feel as though they should have that seat of power. Because if you look at Ferguson, they have the first Black woman mayor.
Yes. Cheers to her.
They have the first Black woman mayor. So change is happening. I really believe Stacey Abrams will be an awesome pick.
Stacey Abrams would be incredible.
Because she almost flipped. She was robbed. The election was stolen from Georgia. Or Kamala Harris, because I love the fact how she's campaigning. I judge her on her Senate record. Yeah, I understand she did some mess up thing. Her prosecutor record should be questioned. But when she was in the Senate, if you match her record in the Senate with Joe Biden, she did a hell of a better job in the Senate.
Oh, absolutely.
So if we're talking about comparing Senate records, Kamala Harris got Joe Biden beat.
Yeah.
And we have to understand Joe Biden is an old man. He's almost 80. He, a couple more years, he'll be 80 years old. So he needs someone that understand the culture, someone that understand Black media and understand Black folks. because Joe Biden, he's got an old school thought of black people. They just gonna vote for me because they've been voting for me for years. I really don't have to change them. He don't really understand. To me, I think he's kind of out of touch with what's going on just by him talking.
90
seconds.
seconds.
Even when he said to the police should just shoot him in the leg instead of shoot, they should be trying. No, it's not about shoot them in a different place of their body. It's about deadly force when it's not needed. It's about using deadly force when it's no need to use it. You're abusing your power. And I think that he needs someone in his ear, and he have to humble himself to listen. Because if you don't humble yourself and listen,
well, that's going to be hard for that white, because he's been around for a minute. And just to clarify, a lot of people, I'm just being honest, when people are surprised, I'm like, I was Team Biden. And the reason I was Team Biden wasn't because, this is the kind of voter I am. I sacrifice my wants for the greater good. And that's the way you should vote, to be honest. If we voted that way, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in now. And realistically, being from the South, some of the other candidates that I supported, that I personally, by my own personal selfish standards, think would be incredible candidates, I know for a fact people from where I'm from would not vote for them. And we'd be in the same situation we're in now. And I felt the only person that possibly could beat him, in my opinion, based on where I'm from and what I know my family's gonna do and people in that state gonna do, I felt it was him.
10 seconds.
All right. So that was 10 seconds for the phone lines. So the phone lines are closed, people, and so we definitely having that conversation. So I want to get in your book a little piece of it. Tell us about your.
Oh, we're talking about my book. I didn't realize you're doing that today.
We could come back and talk about it because we
could totally talk since I'm here. But I honestly did not come to self-promote. I came.
I brought it up because I love to read, so I'm definitely going to get your book as well. And
you like to read, and you like to read.
Yeah. Yes, and and I'm glad that you are supportive of Black media and you're a manager. You help out those that need help. So I thank you for that. And I
thank you for creating a platform. And I apologize. I'm so angry right now and so passionate. That's probably the most I've ever been. And it's just, I feel like, I'm in a very uncomfortable place in life with what's happening in the world. And I know you grow and you learn more in that space, but like, for real, I wake up in the morning crying because it's just, my heart is breaking. And I didn't realize how bad it really was.
Mm-hmm. I knew it was bad for me. It didn't take me for this moment when Bethany John was shot and killed in his apartment. It literally let me know that you can be at home and get shot and killed.
Yeah.
And
that piece I knew was bad. The piece that I didn't realize how many people weren't woke yet.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Like, I kid you not, like, babe, I'm going to get at least 5 more texts tonight of somebody white reaching out to me, trying to figure out how they can support.
Right.
And these are people that I just kind of assumed that because I've dealt with them.
The support is the man using your privilege for good.
And not realizing, and then asking the question like, well, can you explain to me why it's bad that I can't put all lives matter? Because what I'm trying to say is that everybody counts. And I'm like, did you really just ask me that?
Wow, it's crazy.
What rock have you been under?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Anyway.
Like when we had this conversation and direction I'm taking the show, it's so much to talk about. It's impossible.
Let's talk about brands too. That's my other thing too, these companies. Because a company I worked for, I saw them Blackout Tuesday. And I'm like, really? Interesting. Because I was one of very few people, and I was the only one my color. And I never felt like you supported me.
Right. They just doing it for a catchy catch.
You're doing it because you're afraid it's gonna hurt your pockets.
Yeah.
Have several seats.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I do believe that this is if Black America play our cards right, we definitely can get things off the table because President Johnson definitely did a lot for Black America because hell, they were burning stuff up. He had no choice. It wasn't that it was the goodness of his heart. It was very heavy on his conscience. No, when he tuned into the news, every time stuff was burning, people were losing their businesses.
Yeah.
The suburbs everybody was just in a disarray. So what was birthed out of that change, legislation, a lot of things were to help us, and this is why we were able to sit as men, as Black people, have platforms to be, have freedom. To more, but we still got more work to go. We still have more work to do. That was that era. Now we need more with police brutality. Now you have to make sure that police just don't have a license just to kill and no type of consequences. Because I'm happy that Keith Ellison, the Attorney General of Minnesota, charged those officers, but it took them so long to do so. It was up for a debate.
It took way too long.
It took
if it had been the other way around, it would have happened in a matter of seconds.
If that person was allowed to even tell the story, But it really frightens me that it took all this outrage just to get that. Then in Atlanta, those college students you had to get something to eat. They were stuck in traffic to get tased, and most of those officers were Black. So that will let you know, just because they look like us, that don't mean they for us. Because when you get behind the wall and that culture of that, and you get that spirit of, oh, I'm gonna be just like y'all. I ain't gonna say nothing. I don't see nothing, and you are complicit. You're just as guilty as those that do it. And some of them are doing worse. It ain't just
than the others. And that was my issue. That's where I felt, and I was not to that extreme, but they definitely categorize some of us as, well, you're different. And I'm that person.
Right.
And that bothered me so much because
you remind me of Beloved Life, her son. He was talking about privilege and talking proper. And he said talking white. But what he was talking about, that's
talking proper.
How he talk. He's educated. So they would say, "Oh, you talking white?" And they dragged the young man, but his upbringing, he was talking about his privilege.
Right.
Some African Americans are from a better area, and they've gotten more education, and they get judged. So it's like a conversation. Right. We're not a one size fit all. We have our differences and everything. But even talking like proper, do you ever gotten that? Oh, you do? I used to.
Oh, absolutely. I grew up. Kids would say I talk white. And then as I have gotten older and moved to New York and within my career, definitely, I carry myself differently. Let's just be real. That's why half the circle don't like me.
Yeah,
it is, because I don't act like them. I don't speak like them, but I have the same problems, and I'm doing the same fight they are. And I love each of them, whether I fight with them in an episode or not. But it comes off as people think it's arrogance, and it's not. That's just the way I was brought up. And at the core, I can't, that's just who I am. And once you get to know me, I'm just like you. And I've had that fight my entire life. Right. And are there moments I could have spoke up more? Probably so. I mean, absolutely. But there are moments I did. Prime example, I work for this brand. And this is one of the biggest accomplishments I've ever had. This brand came out with a new product for curly hair. And they were predominantly, a white brand. And they weren't going to put a sister in the ad. And I said, in the description, you're telling me this product is made for women of color, but you're not adding a woman of color in the ad. And their response to me was, well, we think they'll still buy it. And I'm like, no, I know for a fact that my mom and my sister would never buy this product if they don't see themselves in it. And there was me and another Black girl sitting at the table, and they asked her opinion. And she said, oh, I would still buy it. And I was like, I called her out. I said, you're a lie. So you wouldn't buy it. I said, I know we both have struggled to get to this table. And I know when I get to this table, I was going to fight for my people. I need you to do the same thing. And the receptionist, which was a woman of color, overheard me. And after the meeting was done, she pulled me to the side. She says, I am so proud of you for speaking up to yourself. She said, but baby, be careful. Because if you want to go far here, you can't do that. And I remember thinking, wow, you only see things like this on TV. Like, did that really just happen? And I was so mad at this other girl because she had the opportunity to speak up. And I actually went to the marketing director on my own. We had a side conversation. I spoke my point very professionally. I ended up winning the fight. But in that moment at the table, I allowed my Black to come out. And when I did, I noticed how the energy at that table shifted. It was more so, oh, he's becoming that way. Yet someone that's white could equally get as passionate and they not even care at all. But when I did it, I saw it in their eyes. I was looked at as the angry Black man.
Or difficult, as they say.
Or difficult. And that was my first experience in corporate America. Like, wow, this is where you are now. This is your new reality. And you learn to package things. You do. And I remember I had one boss who actually, I love her. She's actually incredible. But she was a new boss I got. And in my one-on-one, she said to me, you know, I don't feel like I really know you, Dwight. Like, I feel like you're holding back. Like, you're not as open. And I told her, I said, well, when I'm open, I might scare you. I said, because it might come off a little bit too passionate. And she said, I like passion. She's like, I'm feisty. I like it. White woman. And I love her to this day. And I even remember once we were, she's from Chicago. And we were actually in LA, downtown LA for a sales meeting. And one of my employees just took off running. And you know, Black people, when one run, we all run. So I saw her running and I took off running behind her. And then my boss took off running too. And we got to where we was going. I'm like, Erin, why did you run? She said, I'm from Chicago. She said, I know when one Black person run, the other one run, you better run too, or you're going to get something going to happen. And I was like, I love this woman because it comes from a place of love. And guess what? I talk to this woman to this day frequently on a regular, and she's not one of the people that reached out to me to find out how to support. I go to her Instagram page. She knows what to do because she's been down with us since day one. And that's what I'm trying to say. It's like, don't jump on the wagon now. Where were you when Sandra Bland? Where were you with Trayvon Martin? That was a teenage boy. Where was the outburst then? Because they're not going to do anything until white people stand up. We can scream on a rooftop all day long. They have to join the fight. And I am happy, glass half full. I'm happy that so many of them are joining us now and they want to support and they want to be a part of it. But my ask is I want them to learn from this experience and do better in the future. So that when something else goes down, they don't have to look in their phone and find their one Black friend to reach out to get them to validate them and make them feel better about themselves.
Absolutely. And I agree with Roland Martin said. We have to talk to each other. When the last time we talked to white people, when the last time you had a dinner with your Black friend or had dinner with somebody that is Black, you know, that was one piece that I liked about Losing Isaiah, that movie. Samuel L. Jackson asked the white woman, you know, do you have dinner with your dentist that is Black? You know, when the last you had someone that was Black? Oh, I can't recall. And that was 20 some years ago. Now today we still have that division and segregation.
We still do.
And we still do it without laws on the books. We just do it because we've been conditioned to do it. And we just do it about around it. But I think like if we learn to talk to each other, and me living in Texas now, the area I live around all people. And I never lived with white folks before until I moved to Texas. I was like, wow, every time I say white folks was my teacher, the police, you know, people, parole officer. And so I'm like,
and I grew up around them my whole life. I'm from Arkansas. So my whole life I was around white people. And
wow.
I definitely saw color, but I never really noticed the racist things until I was grown. My parents were very well at protecting me. And as an adult, I look back and I'm like, oh, wow, that's why that happened. Or that's why it was that way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, this is great. This conversation is a heavy topic. And, you know, whatever side you stand on, it have to happen. And these type of conversations you need to have at the dinner table and bring that up and invite someone that is trans to your home and have a conversation of understanding, because if you don't know, ask. You know, I feel like a lot of folks they act on something they don't know. And if you don't know, just pick up the phone, call. There's so many organizations out here. If you live in Dallas, they have so many, they got About in Prosperity is a good one where you can get resources just to be, or you can volunteer just to get around and see what trans women go through on a daily basis. And that goes for trans women too, to work with cisgender women, go to their organizations and have a conversation and try to have that partnership and try to do it. Because I think it needs to be had.
Yeah. I want to read, actually, let me see if I can pull it up. One of my former coworkers, white girl named Rachel, she did this post and I was like, whoa, Rachel, you hit the nail on the head. And I messaged her and I was like, thank you. And I reposted. I said, y'all be like Rachel. Rachel's post was just incredible. Hold on, where is it? Because Rachel got the people right together as a white woman. And I think more people have to view it the way that she broke it down.
Live with Dwight Allen. We are live.
And we can talk about the book if you want. I don't mind. Have you gotten it yet?
No, I haven't gotten it yet. That's all I want to do, to talk about.
Okay. All right. So she said, I'm seeing a lot of white people posting pictures of MLK and saying how he would be against this or that. Let's be clear. You don't know him. I don't know him. White people should not be speaking for MLK. It's not okay. We're the ones who killed him. We don't get to speak for him now or use his photos to prove our own selfish points.
Wow. That's a deep statement.
I text Rachel. I said, girl, if I was straight, you would have my baby right about now, because you hit the nail on the head. And it was just to know, like people like that, they don't have to ask. Like you know how to support us. And That's all I'm going to say about it. Thank you for having me on this platform. I really appreciate it. And keep doing what you're doing. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. And I woke up because I was asleep in it since, let me just talk about celebrity gossip, but God had a way of working it out, because through this pandemic, everybody is talking about every celebrity that, even Keke Palmer was on the front lines. You even see the gentleman on Insecure. You even see I was about to say the Patreon king, the OnlyFans guy.
Mayor de Blasio's daughter got arrested.
Wow.
Yes. On the front lines, got arrested. New York City mayor, his daughter was arrested.
Wow. So and it needs to be like, those are the folks that need to be on the front line to bring awareness. Just like Lauryn Hill's daughter, she was on time. I hope my mama learned that. But she was at the protest. She was speaking up. I'm just saying.
You're right. You're right.
I think her mom is on her way to the protest, but she probably would get there.
She'll be there in 2021. Talking about where everybody at.
Thank you so much, Dwight, for coming on. I'm gonna get your book, and then I'm gonna read it and then bring you back on to talk about it.
Yeah, totally. I don't want to make this about that.
Yeah,
because
I do want to read your book, because I love supporting, independent.
And I feel it, and I thank you for it. Yeah, but
thank you so much for coming on, brother.
No, thank you, babe. Thanks for having me. God bless everyone that's listening. If you are white out there, I just want to say, if you're woke or waking, thank you. And you do get a learning curve. I will say that. You get a learning curve. You get a little learning curve, but there are other ways of supporting us, So be like Rachel. That's all I'm going to say. Be like Rachel. And Mary. Be like Rachel and Mary.
That's it. Thank you so very much for that. All right. So in my close, we covered a lot in this live from so many subjects. And I know I'm not an expert in everything. I can only talk about my experience. But I thank each and every one of you in the chat for supporting us in the shift. This is a very, very rough time for a lot of people. Of course, we're going to tackle the mental health, how to cope with this healthy and not. We're going to try to get some mental health experts on the line as well. So it's a lot of different things. So if you are someone in the mental health field, if you want to come on the Wiley Show, send me an email at wileyshow@gmail.com, because we're trying to have these conversations. and everything like that, because it definitely needs so. And we also need your financial support for this, because these videos do not get monetized, unfortunately. And they do it for a reason, because they don't want people to talk like this. So okay. So with your help, with your donations, that help us to continue to fight and continue to cover these stories, because you rarely see anybody having these conversations. You rarely see anybody having these conversations on mainstream media. Hello, I'm live right now. You needed something? All right, thank you. You rarely see people having these conversations on the mainstream scale. And I said this is definitely a subject that needs to be talked about. So we talked about it. Of course, T.S. Madison talked about it as well. Like I said, and when Madison talked about it, I feel like I said yes, because she's a transgender woman, and she that's the life she's living, and that's her life. So I'm gonna listen to her video again, because she was speaking on the Iyanna Taylor subject, and I'm so glad. Thank you to Naomi for coming on the show. She works with About in Prosperity, and speaking about in Prosperity, that's why I get my prep from, and I always get tested, and it's free. And they now giving out gift cards because they cancel Pride because of the COVID pandemic, but they just sent me a press release that they're going to be giving out Visa cards. So, and they always do that. They just did a food drive. So they do a lot of stuff. So I personally want to thank y'all. Of course, we're going to go back live and get into some mess. So we're going to definitely get into some mess. I'm sorry, Iyanna Dior. Did I say I didn't say it? I'm so sorry. Dior, shout out to her. But she's alive. Somebody said she was dead. No, she's not dead. So no, she's not dead. Somebody said, rest in peace. No, she's not dead. So I did post a video of her as well. Also too, I want to give a special shout out to a couple of folks that have been on the front lines, that is a producer of the Wiley Show, that do not want to be known on the show, but they've been sending me pictures and videos and clips of them on the front line. So we thank you all for contributing to the movement. I want to say this, because before I started the show, where is this? It was a debate on Roland Martin, and they had a forum with so many Black sisters on there. And one sister was saying, we could have Democrats could have had they could have won in Texas in 2016, because Trump only won by 204,000 votes, but 400,000 African Americans was not registered to vote. If those 400,000 was registered to vote, Hillary could have won Texas. So it's a lot of folks, just this state alone, that's not even registered to vote. And that's 400,000. And that was in 2016. But no telling what that number is now. So if you're not registered to vote, please register to vote, because it is your right. You should do so, especially during this time. I want to give a special shout out to Ferguson, because they elected their first Black mayor in Ferguson. I want to give them a special shout out, because I think that's incredible, because anytime for what they went through, shout out to Mrs. Ella Jones. So she's the mayor elect, and she won her seat. She won mayor in Ferguson. So change is actually going, like, is change is happening. Shout out to those Black owned banks that are seeing an increase in deposits. A lot of folks are banking Black. So wow. So it's a lot of positive things that are going on as well. So thank you all so very much for that. Patreon, we will go live in a few minutes. Well, I'm probably going to live about, give you about 34 minutes. And so I can put the link out, because a lot of people don't be getting the link. So I want to make sure everybody get the link. So I'm going to preset it, put the thumbnail, let everybody get the link, because we're going to talk about a story that we're not going to talk about on the main channel, but we will talk about on Patreon. So get ready. It's gonna be nice. So we're gonna talk about that. And if you're on Patreon, thank you all for your support over there, because we definitely gonna go over on Patreon. So I will let you all know when we go over there. It's gonna be great. So I owe you all that live, because it's just a tea that I just want to spill over there. So thank you all. Let me go ahead and close this show out. Ooh, this is how long was it? We was on here for 2 hours, but it was needed. It was needed. Shout out to all Black Lives Matter. Shout out to all Black lives, whether you Black, gay, straight, you Black, your life matters. Peace.